So we got a little bit of a problem.
Welcome to the show.
I'll show you what that problem is in a minute. So I want to use Michael Bush, but I want Roland. Roland can't play third, but I want Devers. Devers can only play third. So I want Yelich. Yelich has no secondary positions. I want Soto, but Soto can only play left. But I want Duran, but Duran can play center, but I want to use Adele. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. Let's move Soto there. If Soto doesn't do good, we'll move back Yelich. We will be starting Kershaw this game. Programs are Sosa, that has to be done. We have to do Gordon, Chapman, Marshall, and Darvish. Wonder where everyone's at. Yeah, we have a bunch of hacks. Okay, we got Weekend Classic. Oh, by the way, we are in gold, so everything will be played on Hall of Fame. If we can get one win on fucking Hall of Fame, I'll be happy. But somehow we can get the Chase Pack 13. I'm just saying. And I skipped over where I wanted to go. If somehow we can win 3 fucking games on Hall of Fame, that's something. Oh, he's starting Priest? Why does this team look bad? Good name. We have Motocross from Red Bluff starting in a minute. I grinded all day yesterday for Kershaw and Soto.
Here's the shortstop at the plate, Elly De La Cruz. Popped up right side, Bush under it, and puts the squeeze on that one. And there's one down. Here's Jose Ramirez. Chris, he's their team leader when it comes to RBIs. Headed towards the corner.
No.
One out, base is empty. And he's down 0-2 as he swings through it. swing and a ground ball up the middle. In time to Bush, and Ramirez is set down.
The 250 motocross point leader Hayden Deegan and the 450 pace setter Shet Lawrence are putting their championship momentum on the line as everyone wants to win the crown jewel of American motocross tracks. Are you ready for Red Bull?
A swing and a miss, and that's strike one. The off-base is empty. The 1-1 is fouled off. Cuts and misses. It's a strikeout.
This is really my first game of online today.
Today's starting pitcher, Tim Priester. Well, the hammer is in effect, and he sets it up so nicely because of the velocity. He'll elevate that and then break you off when he's ahead to count. What I love about him, you get into the later innings of the ball game.
Nothing quite like this in all the SMX World Championship. It's the centerpiece of the Pro Motocross Summer, the Honda Red Bud National, presented by Big Ten Flannel. Welcome to the
I want to take a few pictures.
As always, on a July 4th weekend, for what should be a very special afternoon of motocross racing. 450 is going to race first, followed by the 250s. 4+ straight hours of live coverage coming your way. Jason Wygant joined by the fastest man on the planet, James Stewart. Planet, you've raced all over the world. What makes this track so special?
Well, it's a one-of-a-kind. It's Red Bud. One, all the fans. You see the red, white, and blue. It's America's holiday. The fans are just packed here. But the track's layout is awesome. I always enjoy it for a lot of different reasons, but the main one is what you're seeing on the screen.
Goddamn.
These fans, they come out here to support.
And that's brought a couple extra riders back to the track this weekend, including the defending 450 Motocross Championship Sexton hometown hero.
Yeah, good to see Jay. Well, we saw him last time he was out here riding. Last year he went 1-1, so it's going to be a tough time.
I don't know anybody that's using hat.
Part of the season, but if anybody can do it, you're defending champion. It's good to see the hometown hero back out here today. He's got his hands full, though.
And also jumping into the fray for the first time ever, Ducati is going to race Americans for motocross in the capable hands of a 9-time MXGP champion, Tony Crowley. Earlier, Will Christian caught up with him.
Thank you, Jason. Here with Tony Crowley now. Tony, it's so good to see you and the bike out here. Qualifying was good. I think everybody was like, where are you going to fit into this pack here? But that was a strong start to the day. What's your feelings on it?
No, I mean, I feel okay. It's quite a tricky, thing to sprint immediately, especially this morning 8:30. Was quite difficult, for an old guy, but I was happy with the time. Of course, we are trying a lot of things with the bikes and trying to make it fitness. These kind of tracks is also a completely different setup we are used to. So let's see how it goes the race.
And Whole Shot, you're known for your good starts here. Is that going to be something here that you end up leaning on as the day goes on?
Yeah, remember that we are riding a stock bike, so it's going to be tough to get Whole Shot, against this factory bike. But we try to do our best and try to stay as front as possible. It's always good to have a good start, especially when you like a bit of conditions. So if you're in front of the start, it's better.
We're very excited to see you out there. Thanks so much for your time. Best of luck.
The great Italian Mark is here now, and they're going to race on this Yamaha track map. This is Red Bud, James.
Yeah, as you mentioned with Tony, it's going to be important for him to get a good start because, as you can see, a lot of lines here at Red Bud, a lot of runs as this track forms and throughout the day, but they kind of funnel out into one line, so these guys going to be important to get off the gate. You got the ski jump right off the start, got to start separating before you get back up towards the Larocco's lead, but again, the fans are here, these riders enjoy this place, so no matter where you start, you're going to love this layout of this racetrack.
And a lot of this track, not just that famous Larocco's leap and all the jumps, but the track condition itself for more of
man aboard, and here is Devers.
I need
that. Let's introduce Jason Thomas to the show. Thank you, Jason. And that's exactly right. When you're talking about Red
Oh my God, Rossi.
Loamy, ruddy corners. Now, it's a bit counterintuitive to say that being extremely patient when you're trying to go as fast as you possibly can. But that's exactly what you have to do here at Red Bud, because these ruts will penalize you if you rush into them. So the key, watch for a guy like Jed Lawrence. He'll break really early and then power through the corner, picking picking up momentum as he goes, which then
Squirts
propels
away a
him
little bit.
down the next straightaway. Lesser riders, those less experienced, will come in, they'll push it way too hard, lock up the brakes, come to a complete stop, and then try to re-accelerate.
And Devers hits that one. This one could be trouble. Soto around second, heads for third. Coming home.
JT, that's DMX versus ATD Legends track report about 5 minutes from the first gate drop of the day, which will be the 450 class first. So many storylines intersecting right here at Red Bug. Be right back.
Contact leads to the double. I mean, you can tell it had extra bases written all over it as it jumped off of the stick. At 96, that pitch is in for a strike. Runner at second, nobody out. And a count 1 and 2.
Attaboy, Michael. We move Rafi over. Move Rafi over. Alright. Productive out. Not really, but that's something.
Ian Kinsler, swing and a miss. And it's 0-1. He got away with one there, but he knows he can't go into that spot very easily.
That sinker in. Just looks so good.
Just off the outside edge, and the count is 1-2. Keeps the at-bat going with a foul ball. One away with a runner at third. Bottom half of inning number 2. To the right side.
Let's go places.
As they can't make the play.
Dude, what are you doing?
Now the third baseman, Scott Rowland.
WeatherTech is so much easier. Laser metric floor liners up here.
I don't know what he was thinking, but
At the corners, one away. Off the mark there. Ball one.
Could use a ground ball here. Up it in the infield. Runner at first base.
Out to short. Nice stop.
nope. He's safe.
First nod in time.
Oh, he was out.
Great effort there. Here's Adley Rutschman.
Playing for the double play ball.
Napa and our nationwide network of parts and exceptional service are here to keep our business moving at full speed.
Oh.
And that is the third out of the inning.
Big deals driven to your door with Target Circle 360.
And we're back.
$50
Here's the
off
catcher,
your
Ted
first same-day
Simmons.
delivery when you join.
On the ground right side. And that one handled.
Attaboy, Kinsler.
Whips it to first. One up, one down.
Red Bug National.
Now it's the second baseman, Jason Kipnis.
Champion makes some strides last week. How can he do this week? We mentioned Tony Caroli showing up.
On the ground right
returning,
side.
But guess what, everybody? There's still
He'll do it
Jason
himself.
Kipnis, some
2 up, 2
unfit
down.
fast qualifier.
2
this
outs,
morning.
base is empty.
Yeah, Jets
And
been
now
on
here's the
another
big
level
center
for these
fielder,
last couple
Luis
weeks, and it
Robert.
seems like it's continuing.
How is he on his 9 batter?
Yep, that's right. So we're racing at Red Bug. What are
Swing and a miss, strike one.
Well, the offense is down.
Oh, we're in the third inning. Oh shit.
Get those guys back into the dugout so those bats can stay hot.
Strike 2.
For guys like Chase Sexton, Eli Tomac, get out front, get a good start. And then for all these guys, they got to manage to keep everyone talked about it, but it's very warm out here today. So
And welcome back to the ballpark as we go to the last of the third. Got the left fielder, Jaron Duran.
Before the gate drops, Jason.
And
Chase
first
Sexton,
offering is
welcome back.
fouled
Last
off.
time you were on this track, we went 1-1. It was a great day of racing. So, look, it's going to be tough for you to
And that
start
one
the
is
season this middle
inside
part of the
ball
year. For these guys, I mean, everybody else is up the pace, but Chase Sexton, you know how to get it done. You know, look here, son. Just remember, you got the big #1 plate. Show
Line
everybody else
drive,
how
and
it's
that's a
done.
base hit out into center field. And a good
His
start
teammate
to the
James May
inning.
have a little something to say about that.
Everything
because he
came
has
together
been
for
having
him.
a very
That's about as
strong
textbook as it
motocross
gets.
season.
Got his
However,
stride
last
and
weekend
load
in South
out of the way
with an
early.
overall
He
7th
stayed
position.
inside that
His
ball and
score
squared
of
it
the
up
season.
out
He's
front.
looking to
Man, that
bounce
was like
back
he was
to
in the
no
cage.
better place
Runner
to
on
do
the
it
go.
for Aaron
Pitch
Blaney and that
misses.
right here at Red Bug. The crowd, we talked about
see,
how well
that's a
they are.
stolen
You ain't
base.
seen him, Aaron Blaney,
Durant
against
leads
on
off
the
second with
podium.
nobody out.
They are going to go on. He wants to win.
Swing and a
He
miss.
I wanted to stay out that double play ball.
Wow, no fair right there.
Well, for the
I
number
mean,
70 of
the
Jorge
slider didn't
Prado,
move to the
hopefully
very
James
last
just takes some
moment.
keys to the
It'll
moto
be
because
difficult
he
to pick
needs
that
to
up.
get
Just gotta
out
tip
front
your
on the
cap on
start.
that
This is
hit.
one of the most proficient starters in the history of global motocross, and that's what he knows how to do is race from the front. He's never been a guy that can charge from the back, so get up there
Swings
where
and
you need
misses.
to be. Follow that
And
guy
that's the
to your
first
right
out.
there, Jet Warrens.
Now at
around
the plate,
first few
Joe
laps, and the
Adell.
rest of your way.
0 for 1 so far.
Thanks, JC, and each this week, FMF recognizes one of the privateer racers with the
Runner second
FMF
here, one
Privateer
gone.
Power Award. This week it's going to go to the veteran
Next
from
offering is
Estonia,
foul back.
that's Harry Koulas on the Michaels Reno Power Sports Husqvarna. Got a top 10 moto finish last
Up
week
the
in the
middle.
Sand of Southwick.
Into
Working
the
really hard,
outfield,
improving the
base
plate
hit.
since
Will
round
throw
one.
in.
See what he can do today in a field that just keeps getting deeper. Prado's getting
Well, he
better.
found himself
Under Lawrence
behind an
mid
account out
strides.
there, but he
Recently,
didn't
Eli
give
Tomac,
in.
of course,
Just
still
kept
in
it
the
simple,
field.
played tougher
Sexton's
with the
back.
middle of the
Caroli
infield,
joining us
took it
for
back
this
where it
afternoon.
came
And
from,
next time out
there's just
at
no one
Spring
there to
Creek.
knock it down.
It's
Here's
amazing the field we
Soto.
have right now.
Yeah, we got the feel, and it just showed you how good and
Tolia
dominant
makes the
actually Jeff
grab.
Lawrence has been.
That's
That's the
out
handle
number
this
two.
field, but these guys going to
Here's
show up
Rafael
here.
Devers.
It's all going to start
1
here.
for 1 with
Off
a
the
double
start.
and a run
Starter in
scored.
front of them. We saw what Jet did last weekend. Very quick in the
Swing
early
and a
part of the
high
race.
Fuck
Wanted to see
me.
him calm that
Towards
down, and
left
now
field.
he's got
I
himself
swung at the ball.
Yes, it was alarming how quickly he
And
pulled
that
away
ends the
out of
inning.
Southwick Lawrence, more so than he usually does. There you see Caroli on the
Here at Coors Field.
Ducati making
Now it's the
their
shortstop,
American
Ellie
motocross
De La
debut
Cruz.
as a brand of a factory team. We presume out here next year, operated by Troy Lee Designs.
In the
This is
air,
a production
right
bike,
field.
essentially a stock
Nobody
Ducati
can get
that they're
there.
trying to
It's a
develop
foul
today.
ball.
You can feel
There it
the
is.
extra attention on
And
Ellie.
Caroli, the
Anytime
proud
he comes to
Italian.
the plate,
See how he
this guy's
does.
a player
For the
that
first
keeps you
time
on
in
the edge of your
2025,
seat because
Redbud,
you don't know what he's going to do
Redbud.
next. He can hit for
Gets
power,
down.
steals bases, he can throw the ball 100 miles per hour across the infield. He's electric.
Hunter Lawrence leads them in. Is that R.J. Hampshire? Yes, R.J.
Now it's
been
Jose
working on the
Ramirez.
starts on that Rockstar
Grounded
Husky.
out his
Pays off.
first time.
He's second. Here comes Jet on his left.
Yeah, good start by RJ there. Jet slots into third place. Looks like
Ball
Tony
one,
Caroli's
no
up in the top
strikes.
five. Justin
That's a good
Cooper.
pitch there.
Jorge Prada's
Really
up
had
there as
some
well.
run
So
and
what
finished
JT
little
said
up and in
must have hurt
just
that
on the
key to the
edge.
race.
That's
Oh,
why
yeah,
if
he's
you
challenging
swing at it,
Lawrence
could have
for the
broken
third place
back
spot. They're
as you
ganging
drive
up.
back to the
On
dugout.
Hampshire, no. Hampshire actually goes to the lead.
Base
Go
is
for
empty,
Dave
one
City.
away.
Come on,
Top
get some
half of
RJ.
inning number 4.
Have not seen good starts yet. It's a rookie 450 campaign for the 24. And with a start, he's showing you what he can do.
Yeah, looks like Jorge got around
So,
Jet.
foul
Looks
ball
like
makes it
Jet's going to
1-2.
go back down the inside, but just a man, what a race. I mean, just what Jorge was able to show last weekend. You can see the difference in his riding style. So good by
That's
him.
inside.
4 or 5 passes amongst this group at the front. Hunter reclaims the lead from Hampshire. Prado in front of Lawrence. Jet Lawrence on the outside looks to get Prado back.
Yeah, I was going to say Jorge was going to try to have to close that gap off, but Jet had the slingshot around the outside.
Builds
Tell they
another,
a little bit
and
of
that's
water now. You
3
see how
straight
aggressive Jet is because he wants to get
So
that
big
clear
in,
racetrack.
Roman
Not that he's
Anthony.
worried about getting around these guys, but it's very hard to see when you're behind them, especially in these early parts of the race
Swing and a
with
miss.
these ruts.
Strike
Plessinger
one.
getting in on it from 5th on the number 7. And Prado wants another piece of Jet Lawrence on the inside.
Oh, man,
A little
Jorge
out front
missed that
there
corner
as he
up. I thought
swings
he was
through
going to
it.
have it. Doesn't go for Rafa's lead. Just look how much time he ends up losing.
Yeah, will Plessinger be able to get around him? I'll
Makes
tell
it
you what,
forced.
a lot of lines on this track, at least in the first lap.
Back
They're
here
all
in
over it.
Denver.
Yeah, Jorge does get passed by Aaron.
Yeah.
From that Morocco's lead, he wasn't able to get it. Aaron ends up getting around him, so small little mistake. Love this jump that Jet was doing. Almost loses the front end with that water put down.
So Hunter Lawrence leads lap 1. Hampshire, Jet Lawrence, Plessinger, Prado, Justin Cooper, Tomac, Caroli, Sexton, Anderson, top 10. That is a deep field of talent.
Now what we can hope for right here, Jet just gets hung up behind.
We had
RJ,
10.
not that RJ's going slow,
We
but
had
you know,
10
Jet's starting to
extra ball
see his
and
older
bags.
brother get away from him a little bit. He's going to keep an eye on the guys behind him, Eli Tomac and number 1 at Chase X, and
Holy
make sure those guys
shit.
don't keep creeping up behind him as well.
First lap led for Hunter. He only had 1 this year, and now he's got another at Redbud, so controlling it from the front. As for Hampshire,
Do I
talking to him yesterday
expect?
at press day, said they looked at the data and he was creating a bad habit of just revving the bike too much actually off the start. And he said, I didn't used to do it on the 250. Just some kind of nervous habit. I was giving it gas when I shouldn't have. He had to try to fix it. He did today. Look at this. A pass. Justin Cooper around Aaron Plessinger.
Yeah, Justin Cooper is moving forward. He was able to
Okay.
get around Jorge.
Do
Now,
I
see his teammate can try
expect
do the
to
same,
go
but I have to say that
6-0
Aaron Plessinger
and
gives
get
them business a little bit. I don't think Aaron's trying to do anything. They just
and
lines
get
came together, but
385 plus live series diamonds? Fuck no. But the best I can do is try to win fucking 3 games to get the chase tag.
Battling behind Plessinger and Cooper. I'm just impressed at how racy this track is. We're seeing passes everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like Eli's
Get
going to
the
try to
fat.
get his teammate.
Yep. Jet working on Hampshire.
I got all these fucking backs.
And Hunter starting to pull away. Here comes
I'm saving all these packs because
the Rocket Leagues feel so good getting over. It feels so bad.
I'm gonna get packs from this when I finish it. Alright. Gonna get packs from Alex Gordon.
Well, you see Jet Lawrence here in third, and he's been trying to make some quick passes.
I'm gonna get packs from Chapman, packs from Juan, and packs from Darvish. I just want to save these packs as best as I can. I do have to do his moment. This is not going to be about, well, it might be.
That was beautiful what Jet was able to do. The lap before, he almost lost the front end trying to get the inside. And most of those guys, if they did jump in, they do cut back. Jet just jumped out, went straight through to avoid the front end and cut RJ off. Smart move by the 18.
At one point, I thought the 18 might have been going down in those rollers. That bike was swapping side to side. And 50 feet later, he's made a pass. As we watch the Yamahas battle, Tomac versus Cooper. And a reminder, you can keep up with that team. Check out the @Yamaha Motor USA YouTube channel for Beyond the Gate. That's their YouTube series. And check out the Hondas up front right now because Jet bringing the heat to Hunter.
Yeah, well, the last two motos, well, there are 3 motos on the road now. You can see how aggressive Jet has been.
Oh, Decimet.
Not like him. He kind of
This guy actually has a solid squad. I'm scared.
The race can go a lot of different ways, and if he's able to get out front, all these guys know he's in shape, and it is hard to run down to 18 out front. So I think him being very aggressive, as Aaron's doing the same thing, by him being very aggressive, getting in the lead early, I think it changed the whole landscape of how these other guys will be able to attack it. You can put a lot away. Will?
James, I'm looking at the top sort of like 8 here, and I've heard from so many of these riders and teams, obviously how important the start is, but how important those opening laps are and how challenging it is to be aggressive and ride with that intensity that you've talked about when you're not out front, like we see normally Jet Lawrence doing, and now he's having to be in that same position of battle through. Is that just the depth of field? Is that just the pace of those opening laps here that makes that so much harder for those guys to push out front?
Well, I think, with Jet doing that, I think his whole thing is, all these guys, I don't know how much they really feel like they can beat him once he's out front. So him, anytime he gets in the lead, I think it changes the landscape of everybody, how they attack it. So for him,
We're going to have a fucking game on our hands.
Second lap, changes for everybody else. Everyone else is trying to attack it to stop him from being out front. And so they have to start riding really aggressive. And especially with this track, you can see the distance between first and 10th. It's 16 seconds. It's only been 2 laps. So this particular track uses a lot of time if you're not out front with these guys. So I think they're being very aggressive. But being the first motor of the day, the track is still breaking in. A little bit difficult for these guys, but they're really trying to go for it.
How about Plessinger here, James? He has passed Hampshire and has begun to close, although he almost goes down to the bottom of the heat jump. But he has Jet Lawrence in his sights.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is his holiday. Anybody's going to have some fan motivation, do it for USA, win it for Aaron. And, now you can start to see, I predict Jet's going to start picking back up the pace. I think once he got up to second, he settled down. Now you see Aaron catching him, so Jet's going to go back to work on Hunter. You can also see how dirty Jet's front number plate is, too. So another challenging part of this racetrack is that the soil, once you get
I'm out here fucking chasing.
Unlike some of the other races where it's just the roof, this dirt really sticks to you, so also makes it a lot difficult for all these guys as well.
Reset the order. Lawrence, then Hampshire, and Plessinger are battling. Plessinger has that third place spot at the moment. Hampshire fourth, Tomac is around just a Cooper's fifth. Cooper 6, Prado 7, Anderson, Varsha has climbed past Sexton to 9th. The Rockstar Gas and Sexton is 10th, battling with Cooper Webb. And I think Webb might have just made a move on Sexton, but how about Sexton's teammate here in the Red Bull KTM, Plessinger? Rolling, JT.
He is rolling, and coming into this weekend, I kind of set 2 goals that I thought AP should be aiming at. 1, beat your teammate. You want to be the number 1 guy in Red Bull KTM, and the only way to be the man is to beat the man. You want to be the alpha rider on your own team, and he's certainly doing that at the moment. And second, be on the podium. There is no better feeling here at Red Bud than standing there holding a trophy and watching that crowd go crazy. So you can see how motivated he is. He's closed down on these 2 leaders.
God damn it, Kinsler.
Yeah, he's being the man. I just like Aaron's line. He's really opening up the racetrack, so he's carrying a lot of momentum. And in certain parts of the the track. He's really closing in on these guys like the lap before. Closed a lot of the beginning. So a lot of that does, he's been able to make some passes and he can kind of see where other guys breaking, but he definitely has that flow. You got to believe his hitting skills are so good. Because USA and everybody loves his racetrack as well.
Plessinger has the fastest lap of this race at 2:06. Oh, and just like that, Jet strikes on Hunter and tries to get the lead. Hunter fights back. Jet blocks it down.
He was going to worry if there was going to be a little turbulence on the airplane. There's collided right there.
Jet got beat on the pace, James, and Hunter drives right by.
Yeah, well, there's the point of this whole soul, the red blood here. You see how quickly things can happen. They get in these ruts, and they're so long. Once you get stuck in it, rip both feet off. So
Jet gonna come back on the downhill. Hunter able to hold it. Can he stay clean through these ruts?
Yeah, that's brother love right there, because I think if there's anybody else, Jet would just ran it down. He had that pass made.
He might have another one made right here. It's on the inside as they head to the tabletop.
Oh my God, fucking Duran, bro.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think Hunter's going to let him go by because Jet has the quick pace. They're almost racing each other. Like, are you going to do it? Are you going to, like, don't want to touch each other? So maybe they'll settle back in. Hunter can catch Jet's lines and try to get going because Jet does have a few better lines than Hunter at the moment. So nonetheless, no harm, no foul. But look, they already pulled 4 seconds on air even with all that battle.
That was wild. They upped the pace, and then Plessinger made a mistake. And suddenly, 4-second gap. Into the Lawrence's first and second, and then third. You see it. Hampshire has been passed by Tomac, and Tomac's on the inside. He's looking to get Plessinger.
Yeah, that was weird. I was looking at Jet when he jumped at the LaRocca Fleet. He pulled his foot out, so I wonder if he's having some cramping or something like that. Because it was moving a straight, a little bit of MotoGP kind of style. So you wonder if maybe he caught his foot in that rut when he got stuck over there, JT.
Yeah, you know what? I think he jumped along there, and a lot of times you'll see guys stick that leg out.
No, we ain't doing that.
Just add a sail. Add something out there to slow yourself down a tiny bit.
And I should add a sail a lot of times.
That was for jumping. What do you do when you come up short?
I'll take that. I'll take that L.
Tomac starting to roll here. He has passed Cooper, working on Plessinger.
Now, so far this year, we've seen
Actually, let me go here because I guess Screwball is fucking BP. But I don't have a problem with him. So let's try. So let's use Screwball. Hopefully.
Nobody can match on this racetrack. It's just once he gets stuck on these guys, it slows him down. And for whatever reason this year, it's been stalling him out a little bit more than he has years past. So far, Eli looks good. Maybe senses a little bit of missed opportunity of what happened last weekend at Southwick. Tries to get him, but he's going to have to make a move on Aaron. Otherwise, it's going to be a lonely third-place ride.
Yeah, been a lot of these this year for Tomac. This is an opportunity, though. Plessinger not clean through that corner. Going to fight back. Oh, I see some steam coming out of the bottom of Tomac's bike. But meanwhile, he powers past Plessinger.
Yeah, well, Eli's smoking right now, but a little early in the race to have that clutch fry. But it just shows you how deep this track is. What we saw a lap ago, Jet getting his feet ripped off. It is hard on the bikes, kind of like Southwick. So maybe that, hopefully for us, that's what it is and nothing else.
Give it a running order. The Oakley back riders out here, which includes Tomac now up to third. And Plessinger fourth, Hampshire fifth, Cooper sixth. And then we mentioned that Barsha was able to make a move on Sexton. That is 9th and 10th. Webb was up there at one point, but Webb has dropped back to 18th. And shout out to Tony Caroli, who is 11th right now behind Sexton. So, critical juncture, James. Can Tomac bridge the gap to the Lawrences?
Yeah, we're going to find out. He's got that open racetrack. Looks pretty aggressive. He's getting away from Aaron. I do believe the way this track is set up, if Eli keeps running these outside lines, he loves having that, keeping those feet on the pegs, just sweeping this whole racetrack. And half this track is like that. So from what I see from the number 3, just this next lap and a half is super important for Eli at the moment. Just try to keep that gap, at least not lose time. And I think that everybody's having some confidence as he just lets him have it. Yeah, Big Daddy out there letting him have it.
Some mile an hour through that corner. Tomac beginning to stir, but up front, Jet Lawrence has put in the fastest lap of the race, a little bit quicker than what he and Plessinger had put down earlier as we check in with number 1, the defending champion, Chase Sexton, back here in night.
Yeah, Chase didn't get the start he wanted. It looked like he got past a few times, so you don't know if he maybe had one of these small tempos, which is easy to happen in this, in the early part of the racetrack. But now, this might help Chase. I think this would be an opportunity just to get out of here and just race. Have to just worry, get the feet wet and all that, make his way back up here instead of being out front, put feet to the fire, having to battle these two. It's a little far back, so we'll find out, Will.
I was having a chat with him yesterday, James, just about expectations. Like I said, we haven't come back at this point of the season. He said, I did that in 2023 for Remember. He had his injury there, practicing the concussion, but took him out at the same point after the first round, and he came back at red flag. And he said when he looked back to that, he expected too much. So he's like, this time, I feel good. I'm ready to go. And he's like, at this point, I just have to kind of catch up those expectations. But on the flip side of that, he's also very much got his eyes on these SMX point standings going into the playoffs, and he knows that if he leaves this any longer, he's starting to get kind of eked out of that top group, and he needs to stay in that. So a bit of a balance there for Chase Sexton to make sure he's in it, but at the same time not put too much pressure on missing so many races.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the right thing to do. Is just try to get out here. I mean, it's just hard for a guy like Chase when you have the number 1 plate on the bike. You want to go out there and dominate, especially what we saw last year, being, probably the best he's ever ridden in his life. So, watching Chase ride, you can just see a few mistakes, and that's just typical for a guy who hasn't been here. But listening to his motorcycle, I mean, I'm not going to be afraid to say it.
God damn.
It almost sounds like he's in too high of a gear when you hear him in the corner, really low in there. So don't know if that's just the KTM or the way Chase is riding, but we'll figure out how the race goes on, JT.
Yeah, James, just kind of watching him down here trackside, he just seems like he's lacking the intensity that we're used to seeing from Chase. And when you think about it, he hasn't raced a full pro motocross race all season. It kind of makes sense. These guys are in the groove. This is another gate drop.
Fuck me.
In the midst of the season, everything just feels repetitive. Where Chase is coming in, trying to find a base, trying to find some comfort level here. You can see mistakes. I'm sure he's frustrated inside that helmet.
Hold on, I'm just not comfortable.
Trying to build toward those playoffs and try to peak in September. Super Motocross playoffs offer some of the most unique fan opportunities in sports, and the inside track to the experience of a lifetime. To learn more, go to smxexperiences.com and become part of the action.
So reliant on the matchups nowadays, Chris, and it's huge when you don't have to sit a guy up with him.
Yeah, I told Jason yesterday, and like it's totally different than what he has.
You're a guy that it's hard to take out of the lineup, and I think it's very important today when everything is under the microscope.
Going back to a more 2024-like setup. Speaking of 24, it's the number 24. Hampshire is back. What a odd moto for Plessinger. Bad laps, good laps, bad laps, and he's about to get passed back.
Yeah, when these guys, they ride together all week long, you can see how much time RJ gets and races his inside and not lose too much time on LaRocco's lead. But yeah, I think for Aaron, one thing, it's almost a fine line when you get out there and you start catching the leaders. You're like get really excited, and then once you start losing that toe, it's almost like you're worse off. Because you were able to catch him, you mentally got to reset and like, all right, let me focus over. So maybe a little bit, you get demoralized a little bit. You get demoralized, especially if you're Aaron, because as much as he wants, he loves to be on the podium. But we've heard him say a few times he wants to win these things, and so by catching these guys, and then all of a sudden they start pulling away, it's kind of frustrating as a rider. But doing a good job with RJ. He's still in 4th place. Eli's only a few seconds in front of him, so he's still got a lot to look forward to in this race.
As for RJ Hampshire, we used to poke fun at the guy for being wide open. Even when he didn't crash, it looked like he might even save it on the 250. We have not seen that on the 450.
No, RJ knows if he don't tame it, that beast is going to tame him. So, but I also think with RJ, I talked to him last week, and he said just eating, he doesn't have to watch his weight as much. And you think about being a little bit heavier on the 450, it's going to balance him out. But I also think at the same time, just the way you got to ride a 450, it will calm you down, not having to shift so much. So even the starting issues, I think a little bit of that is pertaining to riding 250s. JT.
Yeah, James, I got an opportunity to speak to him right before qualifying session on Race Day Live there, and he talked about how this track's always kind of suited him. He has 2 overall wins here on the 250, and just things seem to click. So it kind of makes sense. He came off a great second moto. It sounds like he's following that up with arguably his his best, maybe not the best overall moto score, but certainly the best ride so far of his pro motocross career on the 450.
Michael Busch.
Thanks, JT. Battle has settled down just a little bit. He was closer to Plessinger the last time around. And then behind them, you got Justin Cooper, Prado running by themselves. 6 seconds further back is Sexton. And then it's this Barsha and Anderson battle that you're watching right now for the end of the top 10. Wow, nice rebound bounce here for Barsha, who only started racing again last weekend in Southwick.
Yeah,
today.
Trying to get something
like Jason too, his hands up right there, so kind of weird. I don't know if that's a bike issue or a Jason issue, but
swing and a high fly ball.
Barsha not asking questions, he's going to jump the leap and get away.
Maybe Jason let him know, look, I'm not here. Got relapse on me today, so I don't know. But yeah, there's something definitely going on wrong with Jason. I got to say, that's probably more with him, the way he's jumping. Then you got the
I went and played the matchup.
Caroli right behind him.
Yeah, looking pretty good. Again, that's a stock bike. They don't have factory parts yet. So this is not much different than the showroom stock model you'll be able to buy pretty quickly. And just had factory connection working the suspension settings. He was at Southwick hanging out with us last week, did not race. But now it's July, the bike is homologated, and it'll race here and next weekend on the Ducati.
Yeah, and one of the disadvantages for Tony compared to just the factory bike is when you get into those rollers, as you notice, like his bikes start rebounding a lot, and it's just stock bikes, they're great motorcycles, but they're really not known for.
James Tomac, we saw the steam or smoke coming out earlier, and it looks like he might be done.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying earlier. It was a little early for having a clutch issue, but yeah, that's a bummer, and you start to wonder if maybe he hit somebody in Tangle, but yeah, that's not the fire Eli wanted to kind of bring to. It's 4th of July, we got fireworks on. That's a
And look, it's going to cost a lot. Now, chance of overall podium at Redbud are done, and it's going to kill him in the point standings.
Yeah, we're looking at this is the big picture, and he's probably realizing it at this moment. This is a championship possibly ending.
Yeah, now Jen had built up a big point lead, but you never know in racing. But this is going to certainly, I would think, bump Tomac back to 3rd or even worse in the standings.
Yeah, and just to give you a little of where he's at, he's probably on the farthest part away from the pits, and he's in a valley down there, so.
You got the hitter already chasing that nasty
slider. If you're on the mountain, he's going to expand his arm.
Get his swing and miss and get through the cigar.
Cooper, Joey Savacci, it's like Harry Kulas behind him, so.
And here is Matt.
You know, it's funny, as, let me send it to JT real quick. JT Rusty.
Well, you see Cooper Webb going by there. He actually crashed on the start and was dead last, so he's on a march back towards the front. But as I was seeing Eli Tomac sitting there with an expired motorcycle, I was wondering, could it possibly be the same issue that Cooper Webb ran into at Fox Raceway? Remember, he had a bike that said no moss at the opener.
Yeah, JT, what I was going to say is that Tomac had a DNF on his Kawasaki at this track a couple of years ago. Lost the point lead that day when the engine let go.
Yeah, and it feels like a whole different feeling where he was when he lost that points lead. He felt like at some point he would get it back. This one's going to be a little bit tougher, but yeah, JT, it does look like the same thing because we were having those same issues. There's a little bit of smoke, and all of a sudden things just blew up. So one issue that we don't have, if you're Honda HRC, is both brothers out front. Jet Lawrence looking, I mean, this kid is for real now. Like, he's bringing it.
Yeah, you think he's even better? No. This guy had a perfect season 2 years ago. You're seeing more now.
God damn it.
I don't think he's better. He is better. Okay. And you can just tell by the way he's opening up these races now. That's got to be confidence. That's what we were talking about earlier in an open fire race as well.
It's just that question that Jason just posed to you there, James. Do you think he's better? I asked both him and his brother Hunter that earlier on today. So let's look at the overall pace of racing here compared to going back to 22-23. Has it gone up? Are you guys better? Hunter kind of had to think about it. He said, yeah, I think we are. He's like, it's all kind of marginal, right? By how much? We said, yes, I believe we're both better. I believe the entire field's better. And he kind of cited that between 22 and 23 and Jet taking that jump up and everybody else then having to do that, having to step up and reach that pace. We said, yeah, generally generally speaking, I think the pace is up.
Yeah, and what I will say is being better is not necessarily going faster. You know, it's just the way he is on the motorcycle. Being better, you look at 250 class, Hayden Deegan.
What a fucking jump by the third baseman.
When they tried to attack, I feel like being better means when I make a pass, I know when I'm going to make it. Things are going to happen around this racetrack the way I want it to, whether it's just, being fast. He was already fast in 2023 when he won this thing, so.
He's got a Rocky Mountain team check in with this Twisted Tea. HEB Suzuki team presented by Progressive. Welcome to America. Benoit Patrell has been very good hovering around that top 10 majority of the races this year. Right now, Patrell is insisting more trouble for his teammate Colt Nichols, who has been luckless the last couple weeks.
No.
He's back into the 30s.
And now maybe extra base.
And from the French veteran Patrell, we go back to the leader.
With 2 strikes,
Jim Lawrence.
Pitchers
And now has a
in and off the plate.
9-second
So
gap.
hard to do anything with the pitch in
That's
that
what that
location, but
improvement
somehow
that
he
you're
got the
talking
barrel
about
to it and hit it well.
looks like
Pretty
it's a rider
amazing.
that's won all but one
This is
overall
one of
ever.
those situations
And he's raced in a
defensively where
450 in
you can- There goes the
motocross.
runner. Swing and a miss.
Battles on hand. This is Prado.
Oh, safe.
Sexton. He's caught Prado. This is horse 6.
Yeah, Chase is slowly marching his way up, and I think this is a good thing for him, as I mentioned. Now, Jet's so far gone that now he can just focus on just how the motorcycle feel. He can ease his way into this thing. He's not going to be happy with the finishing position knowing Chase, but at the same time, this is what he's got to learn and get back to it. That was a beautiful pass, by the way. So I think this is a good thing for Chase, and maybe if he continues this as he wipes it, without a tear off, obviously. Might be better for the second moto as well, because he's starting to look a little bit more loose on the motorcycle, and definitely looks a lot better than he did at Paulin.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, there's going to be some rust with having this time off. Can the first moto do a lot of that? Can he be much better even an hour from now? What do you think?
No, I absolutely think he can, and again, it just depends on how this moto goes. I actually think this moto is perfect for a guy like Chase coming off injuries. We're watching like Eli walk back off. He gets about 2 fans, he's just disappointed right now. JT.
Yeah, it's unfortunate there for Eli Tomac. Just thinking about Chase, though, and his comeback here to pro motocross. Moving forward is a net positive, that's for sure. But you're talking about the defending champion, and what I worry about is he's going to go back and he's going to look at the lap times, and he's anywhere from 4 to 5 seconds a lap off the Jet right now. That's demoralizing for a guy who's coming into these races wanting to win.
Yeah, 100%. But I will tell him, if I was in Chase's corner, what I would tell him, like, look, that clean air, we know how important it is, and those opening laps that Jet was able to do, that 206, that's because he's got clean air.
Damn it.
He's moving forward where you didn't start off right. You probably got caught up behind guys. But how's your race pace? Once you get into these laps, how's the race pace? How's your body feel? How do you feel getting out here? Is your mind clear from coming off these injuries? And if that's good, then we can build off of that. But if he was out here and he was kind of going the opposite way, making a lot of mistakes, then I would say it'd be tough. To me, when I'm watching Chase, he looks better now than he did when we first saw it, and I think that helps him out as well. But of course, to be where this number 18 is right now, the worst thing could be him starting up front and Jet pulling away from him. Because I don't think Chase is ready for this level, which ain't nobody else in this field that's ready. So it might be a good thing where he started at.
Yeah, never even was in that fight, but has been able to grind his way up to 6th as Jet continues to log laps up front. Taking Larocco's lead. At Redbud, Hunter Lawrence in 2nd, and this is becoming an alarming trend if you're any other team in the paddock. 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 has been the story lately for the brothers Lawrence of the Hondas.
Yeah, and even scarier, it looks easy. For these guys, their bike looks good. I mean, there's nobody even in their field. I mean, that one Eli got up in the 2nd place. I mean, 3rd place. We don't know if some of the bike was kind of holding him back, but those guys just kept pulling away from him. So to me, it just looks like a continuation of what we saw starting at High Point and then last weekend. But those guys got it figured out. Great ride by this two right here.
Yeah, he made the move on Plessinger, so Hampshire is running in a podium spot in this moto, the 450 rookie of the Rockstar Husky.
Yeah, RJ looks good. That's where sometimes I feel like you'd be riding with the guys like Aaron and all them during the week. There's no secret. So RJ's comfortable riding with you, so him making that pass, he's probably not too worried about you coming back because he rides with you every single day. But RJ's definitely brought the heat, especially the way that moto started. He was up there battling for lead, got past, regrouped, now he's in the third place.
That'd be a career best on a 450 for him.
Swings through that
Back to
one.
Jet, putting some lap riders behind him. Plessinger is still fourth, Justin Cooper fifth, Sexton made that move on Prado.
Strike two.
Oh, and now Justin Cooper has caught Plessinger. What a strange race for the number 7.
Yeah, this is where I go back to. Sometimes it's demoralizing in the opening parts because now once RJ got, he was just right behind RJ, so you don't know if something else is going on with the number 7. He's starting to fade back, but
250 riders getting ready. There is Hayden Deegan, the championship leader. He did go down late in qualifying today. Had a Charlie horse in the leg, so maybe getting that thing warmed up. He did log a good quick lap after that. Not sure how bad that situation is.
Now it's going to be.
As for the number 7 here losing spots, send it to JT.
Yeah, Jay, just a question. What are your thoughts here on AP? You know, he's been pushing so hard at the beginning of these motos, trying to put pressure on the leaders. You think he's putting in too much work, like overriding the pace and overriding the track, and that's taking a toll on him late in the motos? Because this is 2 weeks in a row where we've really seen him suffer in the back half of the moto.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, JT, and especially how he started the Europe. I mean, he was really strong at the motos. I mean, he was a couple laps from winning the hottest race of the year and down that first moto. And yeah, it's different when you get out front and look, you can end up running the same lap times as Jet and all these guys, but just those opening laps, what you got to do to your body, if you're not ready for that, it can exhaust you really quickly, and then you got to start fighting the mental side of things. Once you started feeling that way, now your mental game, because you know, look, man, I feel like I'm close to beating these guys. Now you start to lose that toe in the beginning part of the race. So, yeah, it is something that you can tell he is trying to be very quick in the opening part of the races, and now with Jet doing the same thing, they all know they have to do that, and I think, JT, that's an excellent point. It is bringing it out of them, and sometimes might be better off just kind of to settle back and then regroup because he's starting to go the wrong way at this moment. And in 2 seconds behind him is his teammate, which is coming now too.
How about Justin Cooper making it to perhaps be the number 1 seed when the SMX playoffs begin in September? He was 3rd in the Supercross.
And there's a bomb for Adley.
Moved to 2nd because Sexton wasn't scoring points early in motocross, and he has chopped the lead that Cooper had on him by more than half. From about an 80-point deficit, he's taken about 50 out of it already, and he's going to make up more ground on Cooper in the standings. Then he keeps up his pace. Justin Cooper might have the most combined points in motocross and supercross this year. Check back in with Sexton. He's only 2 seconds behind. He might get Plessinger.
Yeah, he's going to get Aaron for sure. Aaron's definitely, filling in for whatever reason. But, yeah, as you can look at Chase, I mean, he was, besides Justin Cooper running at 209, Chase was your second fastest on that last lap. And been consistently in these 210. So, as this race goes on, he's definitely looking a lot better. And that pass that he made on Jorge a few laps ago tells me that he's feeling that race condition, race pace starting to come back to him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made that pass. But he's going to get Aaron here pretty quickly. He might be in this corner right here.
Plessinger not aggressive at all on the entrance to that corner. And Sexton is around his teammate and into the top 5. Hey, a shout out to those listening to the show on Sirius XM every round of the Super Motocross World Championship available. Listen live, the NBC Sports Audio channel, which is number 85 on Sirius XM. You know, it's going to look decent for Sexton. It's going to potentially end with a top 5. It's a good jump back in.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I like the way he looks on the motorcycle. And as earlier I was saying, the way his bike looked a little slow. You could tell when he was even coming up against LaRocco's lead, like him having to pull up on the bike. And again, I know the KTM's not slow. It could just be simply just the way he's riding the bike, gearing or whatnot, suspension setup. So that's one of the things, because he hasn't been out here riding, these other guys would have figured that part out. And now he's going to have to do that. And I will say here, Redbud, because it's really humid, this dirt's really soft, if you don't have that out, it really brings it out and, really makes it tough for these guys. You can kind of see it to me when I'm watching Chase in this motorcycle.
I don't know, is that something you can fix between motos, or is that a bigger change? Or is it actually maybe the riding he's doing?
Well, I mean, the riding looks good, and Yeah, I think it's going to help him because, one, he's going to be more comfortable routing into race conditions, so I think his lines will change. The track will harden up a little bit, so overall, yeah, the bike might be holding him back or whatnot, but I think his riding looks a little bit better. He's flowing the motorcycle to me, so whether they can make that change or not to make a huge difference, we don't know, but to me, I think they'll be able to build off this instead of him going the other way.
As Jet beat off the pace as he's about to launch Larocco's lead. And we check in with Tony Caroli, the now nearly 40-something Italian, the 9-time champion of MXGP over in Europe, riding for the Italian brand Ducati, and really more of a testing and development guy, but they do bring him out to the races. Raced, I believe, 3 MXGP rounds this year. It's in England a couple of weeks ago. He's in the top 10. And holding up pretty well right now. He's in 9th place.
Yeah, he's holding up really well, you know, when you think about this. And then Tony kind of ruins it for all of us because this is why I don't want to get out. I don't want to have to test because, look, our test guy shows up from a different country on the stock motorcycle. Go ahead and get 9. Why aren't you doing it? So Tony's doing a great job, and it just shows you how much he's enjoying riding this new motorcycle, this new opportunity with Ducati. Great for the sport, great for Tony, and I love watching it.
With Ducati jumping in, it is now 10 brands that have raced races this year. Of course, Triumph has jumped into the 250 class. Beta is a recent entry into motocross and supercross as well. The traditional 4 Japanese manufacturers in that KTM group, KTM, Husqvarna, and GasGas. That's not a record. You go back to the earliest days of this championship, there've been 10 times. But it has been a long, long time. You're talking about 45 years.
Back here in Denver,
this many different brands have competed, but I think the main thing is to say that all 10 are competitive. That's the thing. They're not laggards. We saw some good runs from the Beta guys at Benny Blossom Supercross. Jordan Smith won a race on a Triumph in Supercross. That's what impresses me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Tariq. Or Tarek. How do you say your fucking name?
Good these days, and like you said, just show these guys are coming in, Ducati, Triumph, Beta all here. Just shows you how much you know, this sport is growing. But as you mentioned, it just shows the work that these guys are putting in to show up with a motorcycle, a stock motorcycle, a Ducati, and compete. You know, it's not like he's out here, people are just dropping. This guy's competing out here, so really impressive.
But I tell you, the other red is pretty darn impressive too. These Hondas, like I say, alarming for everyone else. Jed Lawrence working on his 37th career moto win. Hunter Lawrence is in second. They're going to be 1-2 at points after this moto. They've been 1-2 in the last couple of motos in this championship. They are taking control at a level that we've never seen two brothers do. And even for a manufacturer to be this dominant, this goes back to Honda's glory days in the 80s, 90s, where they were throwing anybody on these bikes and doing it. Here it is. Moto 1, that red one goes to Jed Lawrence. And it's going to be a Lawrence and Honda 1-2 again. Got the full-on boss of Honda HRC, the president, coming over from Japan to watch the race today. And he's got to be happy with what he just saw.
He throws it hard and gets a lot of late movement, so it's tough to pick up. Arenado takes one away as he takes 4-1.
As you mentioned, that was a dominant
and it's 1-1.
It's the Honda Red Bug National in multiple ways, no doubt about that. It's hot out there. Jet's going to begin the cool down. We will talk to the moto winner after this.
One run across the top half of inning number 7.
From office spaces to F1 races. From factory floors to rigs offshore. From cafe chains to shipping cranes. Whatever your digital workplace, make work
center,
better.
and there's one down.
Haven't tried Domino's new Parmesan
Too
stuffed
good of a
crust
barrel.
yet? You might want to look in your rewards account because there's a stuffed crust for half off waiting just for you. Sign in or sign up for Domino's Rewards and try your first Parmesan stuffed crust pizza for 50% off.
And he'll be safe at
in
first.
Orange County, Florida, to oil filters in Orange County, California.
Run around at first
Big or
with
small,
one gone.
national or local.
Scott Rowland
At
getting
Napa,
ready to hit.
we are the pros
Slider
that
for a
know how to
strike.
keep your business moving at full speed.
Persa throws to first, and he's back in there.
Own a design studio. Win a really
And
big
his
design
first one
contract.
away.
Realize
Here
you're
comes
more
the
of a
pitch.
creative
Runner
type
breaks
than
for
a
second.
finance type.
That's in for a strike.
Realize you got this. Use QuickBooks to get your cash flow flowing. Get live expert assistance to maximize your tax savings.
Ew, what a pitch.
Hadley
to doing what you love.
He's already homered here.
Manage your career, business, all in one place. Intuit QuickBooks. Your way to money.
That's a fair ball, and it's getting into the corner.
To
The
find
run
your
comes
way,
in from second
sometimes you have to pave it yourself.
to second, but way too late. Safe there.
Big at bat to pound their lead up to 3.
Forge your own
Nice line
path.
drive to full side, net it out front, but just stayed through it nice enough and ripped it into the
Damn it.
Great swing, foul to the left.
Introducing the latest addition to the On the Trail Sport lineup. The 2026 CRV Trail Sport lineup.
Now it's the right
The most
fielder,
capable
Roman
CRV
Anthony.
you've ever dreamed of.
Swing and a miss. It's 0-1.
Pitcher's been pretty dominant in this one, but you got to be careful. Not working with too big a lead. They can get right back in this ballgame if you're not careful.
On the inside corner for called strike 3. Here's the catcher, Hunter Goodman, who's 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. And a
The Pro
swing and
Moto
a miss.
Cross
There's that
Championship is
slider.
fueled by
It's critical right
Monster
here that
Energy.
they bear down
Unleash
and
the
turn in
beast.
some quality at bats. Try to
And
chip
by
away at
Honda
that lead
and the
because
dominant
if it
line of
gets to the
CRF
ninth, that
Motocrossers.
closer's coming in.
And a big crowd now makes their way from the side of the track to the side of the podium. Here's the Monster Energy 450 Moto 1 and recap first race of the day.
Yeah, I hung it.
And RJ Hampshire battling for it.
Yeah, Hunter Lawrence actually wanted to get back in the lead. Where last year he was in the lead in the first moto here, so didn't look good for everybody out there. Just Lawrence was in second, but it was a couple other guys trying to make some passes as we see.
That's not the pass you want. That's Grant Harlan going down early, and then just chaos ensues. Not the time you want to do that. Come break for Grant.
He was nice to him. He threw the bike down before he got to him. But good to see Grant. That's a tough position. Dang.
Yeah, his moto is over. Little mistake from Hampshire, and then I thought Jet was going to go down, and instead he passes it.
Yeah, but you saw that line right there with Jet when he get over that double. Just went straight across. Make sure Harnett went coming back, and then Aaron Plessinger wanted to get in. He had a rapid pace. Actually, only 3/10 off of Jet's fastest lap time in this motor, so Aaron definitely had the pace early in the motor. But it was Jet Lawrence going after his brother after they were going hand to hand. Hey, bro, you want to pass? No, you want to pass? And then finally, little brother said, "Let me show you the way." Older brother got around to the inside.
Extra base hits on the stat sheet so far. They're seeing the ball out of the pitcher's hand really well.
Tomac starts to stir, but so do the motorcycles. His steam coming out as he passes. The number 7 of Plessinger third, but unfortunately that bike was not long for the car.
Yeah, it was. Eli was bringing the heat, and Mike wasn't ready for it. Unfortunately, fireworks were going there. Bummer. Huge implications on this as far as championship wise for number 3. So bummer for him. At the end of the day, nobody was even in this guy's field. He was on the cruise-down lap, the last lap. Another dominant victory by the 18 HRC Honda.
Yeah, that's 3 motos in a row where the gap was bigger than even usual for the rider who's won a ton of these, but normally not with gaps like this. Check in with Jet Lawrence and his big crowd.
Base is empty. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. Back-to-back strikeouts.
Oh, there we go. I didn't think we were going to get the window to talk there. It's pretty loud out here. They're awesome crowd today, and I know they really enjoyed watching you win that Moto LA. Most fun time he was watching you battle with your brother. Talk me through those laps of
Pitches in the dirt.
Yeah, it was good. The battle with Haysha. He was running well. It's hard to pass because it's so deep, you know. I think we went back and forth like 4 times in that one lap. But no, we're happy with the first moto. The track's very, very deep.
All set to start the ninth in this one. Here's the second baseman, Ian Kinsler.
They're sick guys, but no, it's a great day. I'm going to go back for a cover for the next moto.
The pitch out of the penny room.
Very soon.
Even Bambi came out to cheer.
I can't imagine any save is an
It's
easy
all
one.
about
You're
at
holding a
Redbud,
small
that
lead on the
wild
scoreboard,
podium.
and you know
We'll hear
those
Hunter
hitters are
Lawrence's
going to
side
give
of
you
the
the
story
best at bats they
in a
can.
moment.
So
Hampshire,
it's always
career
high
best
stress.
out of
Let's see
450
what he's
in
got
third.
here to
He
try
had
and
to
close it
fight
out.
to do it. Really, maybe all he needed was a better start. We had not seen him up
Swing
front
and a
early in
miss
any of the
as he
motos.
got front.
He finally gets a good one, and the result follows Justin Cooper fourth, because remember, Tomac's bike let go while he was running third, and Chase Sexton hovering 9-10 early, comes back for fifth in his return to racing ahead of Plessinger, Prado, Barsha, Caroli, and Anderson.
First pitch swinging.
Cooper Webb,
such a good
I believe
sinker.
they,
As a hitter, you've got to
JT
look
said
up
it's
in the
down
zone.
early,
If you look
only able to
down,
get
you're going to
15th in
chase
that
the
one, so that's
stuff
4
in the goal.
points to the good
Swings and
in the
misses.
SMX combined
And it's
standings
0-2.
for Justin Cooper.
Yeah, Harrison, John Short, and Scotty Verhage going to go out and grab the final points. Yeah, these guys have some good pace. Justin Cooper showed a lot of into the moto pace, and I believe Cooper must have went down at the end of that moto because he was a little bit farther up. Good to see Anderson in that 10th place, as you said. Eli, as you can see, 34 right here. Huge implications, as I mentioned earlier, with the point. But, yeah, it's going to be tough for these guys in the next moto, especially Eli with that gate position.
That's right, 34th pick.
Is the ball game.
Let's talk to the other awards. Hunter.
Well, Hunter Marks, we talked a little bit last weekend about, hey, you're taking steps, leading laps. Feel like more progress this weekend because it felt like those early lap pace was really strong here at Redbud.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what you said, actually. They chanted. The crowd's awesome, but it was a good race. Gave Jet a bit of a run for his money in the first few laps. Just couldn't quite get going in the later stages. And, yeah, we'll head back, regroup, and try and get that far a bit better for the next one.
No worries. I asked you what the cure for world peace was. But yeah, perfect. Great. Good luck in Moto 2.
I haven't got that answer either.
We'll see you in Moto 2.
Meeting his brothers about as difficult as solving that one, so.
Yeah, they both probably would have had an answer for either one of those. So.
Here's the Monster Energy upcoming schedule. We're going to talk Super Motocross here. Playoffs beginning September 6th at ZMAX Dragway in Charlotte Motor.
Oh my God, Otani's playing down. He's gonna be the fucking highest fucking 80, the highest priced 86 out there. I mean, if I can get Tatis, that helps me go towards the NL West for Headley. And it's second half, which we do need.
It's a big day for you, and you've done it on a very big stage here. First podium on your 450. Your progression through the season so far has just been, honestly, understated really, because it's been so good. Where are you now compared to where you started the year, compared to where your expectations were?
Just, man, believe in yourself. We made ourselves up here, 6 rounds in. Yeah, always knew I could do it. Thankful for my whole Rockstar Energy Factory Hustle Motor Racing team to give me this opportunity. And, yeah, glad we can put that American flag on the podium this morning.
I can see how much it means to you. You get emotional talking about it. The work that has gone into getting this point. Can you sum that up for us quickly?
11 years. You guys have seen it. Yeah, the highs and the lows. It makes this moment right here a lot more
To the fucking back.
Thanks so much.
We're not even close to being done with packs. Not even close.
That's awesome to get Hampshire up there as a potential contender now.
Because we still got 3 games left. We can potentially go 5-1. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
The first moto of the day from Redbud is over, but there's plenty of action still to come.
Oh, we're almost back up into championship series.
We'll preview some of the most famous obstacles today made for motocross.
A massive uphill triple.
And the top American riders make their case for inclusion on Team USA this year.
Go racing on home turf. Got to go hold it down for the American fans.
Who will represent the red, white, and blue this October? The American racers look to pad their resume when we drop the gate.
One more win, we get a chase pack 13.
America's motocross track.
To find your way, sometimes you have to pave it yourself.
So,
introducing the latest addition to the Honda Trail Sport lineup, the 2026 CR-V Trail Sport Hybrid.
hey, we're out here grinding. We're out here, we should not be competing on fucking Hall of Fame. Yes, we made Hall of Fame, but these are literally the first 2 games I won on Hall of Fame. Oh, Nate Pearson, fuck. Guy has a squad too. But we also have a squad. Our team has heart.
You stand your ground. If you've been diagnosed with metastatic prostate cancer and have tried hormone therapy, ask your doctor about Pluvicto.
The lefties shouldn't, like, in theory, go fucking crazy this game.
FDA approved after 1 hormone therapy and before chemotherapy. Pluvicto Don't involve contact with radioactivity, which may increase the risk for cancer and cause fetal harm. Drink plenty of fluids, urinate often, use contraception, and talk to your doctor about ways to reduce the risk of exposing others to radiation during and after treatment. Pluvicto can cause low levels of blood cell counts, kidney problems, and infertility. Tell your doctor if you have weakness, pale skin, shortness of breath, bleeding or bruising more easily, an infection, or changes in urination. Side effects include decreased blood cell count,
he's going to have to make sure that he stays patient because he is the focal point in that lineup. They're going to pitch him.
Oh no.
Ask your doctor about
Oh, thank you.
every day without cancer
What
progression
you can
is
do
a
is
victory.
become a little too
Push guy,
aggressive
cold and
and
smooth
chase out of
survival
the zone.
skills.
Just misses.
You can tell time by measuring the sun's distance from the horizon.
That's down and in.
Looks like happy hour.
Head for the mountains.
Yes, he did blue.
Veritek starting after it. Tried to hold up.
It is the Honda Redbud National presented by Dixon Flannel. Fans leaving the podium now headed back trackside at this beautiful facility in Michigan. Now, sports venues always create the backdrop for the favorite sports. You got the Green Monster at Fenway Park. I got to visit there, went there after South Wings last Sunday. Of course, the famous Yard of Bricks in Indianapolis with the Indy 500. And just down the road at South Bend, about a half hour from here, the mural on the library known as Touchdown Jesus, just outside of Notre Dame's football stadium. I went over there Thursday night. And in American motocross, it's the obstacles on the track that have become part of the lore of...
That's what happens when you do that to Harper.
He sends it into the second.
Wait, he's World Series? Fuck. We actually got matched up with fucking World Series.
The jump into the rollers at High Point. The climb up and descent down of Mount Horton at Millville. A unique finish at Unadilla. No gravity cavity are just a few of the unique features that add spice to the pro motocross schedule. But no single section of any track holds the world's attention like the spectacular 125-foot monster of a jump. It's Larocco's Leap, which will launch the 450 athletes 4 stories above the racetrack. The hang time in front of the fans who are lucky enough for a bleacher seat is one of the most coveted tickets in motocross.
Back here at Coors Field, today's starting pitcher, Nate Pearson.
Not the only iconic racing taking place right now. The 184 riders are about to take off on the even more historic Redbud Tour de France. That's July 5th through 27th. The Grand Department Final Sprint in Paris starts today. You can watch live through the 27th of July on Peacock. They've got some elevation change early. Now this is really cool since it's the Honda Redbud National. The title sponsor, they brought its title-winning Trials team to Michigan to thrill the crowd at this unbelievable show they've been putting on all weekend in the sponsor village. And earlier this weekend, that was this morning, Jason Thomas got up with the 37-time world champion, Tony Bow.
Check swing, did he go?
A man who needs no introduction, Tony Bow, 37-time world champion. He has not lost a championship in trials since 2007. Now, Tony, first experience here at Redbud. Tell us, how are you enjoying that so far this weekend?
Yeah, first of all, I'm super impressive with many public, the tracks, the is amazing tracks, so super happy to be here and looking at these big boys.
So, big event next weekend here for the U.S. event for trials. Speak a little bit about what you're going to see next weekend in Rhode Island.
Yeah, I'm super happy to come back to here, USA. I think it's very important for the calendar to have the race in this season. So I have a good remembers when I ride here in USA. So amazing public, this pushing a lot. So happy to be right again here.
Well, good luck next weekend and enjoy Redbud.
I could watch base hits like that one all day.
Tony Bow dominates his Ford and Hayden, building quite a legacy in his, which is 250 Pro Motocross. But all the one races here, shout out to the injured Chen Hymas, the only non-Chen Lawrence Hayden Deegan winner this year. But Deegan been on fire, including a 1-1 last time out at Southwick. And he was quick in qualifying earlier today. Second quickest. So this is what Danger Boy's been laying down so far this year. Hymas got that win round 3 in Colorado, but since then he's won all the motos.
Minnesota makes the grab. Runner tags for third. Relay throw home. Not in time. He's safe. And a run comes in to score.
That's just a really nice catch on the run right there. He saved extra bases for sure. But the pitcher's as well, and he'll give him a second to catch his breath before he's ready to deal the next pitch.
Swing and a miss. And it's 0-2. Swing and high fly ball right field. That one back, that one on its way.
From factory floors to rigs offshore. From cafe chains to ship.
Yeah, fuck that.
Wherever your people work, TeamViewer brings the power of the digital workplace there too. So everyone and everything can perform at their best. TeamViewer. Make work better. To find your way, sometimes you have to pave it yourself. Introducing the latest addition to the Honda Trail Sport lineup. 2026 CR-V Trail Sport Hybrid.
Nolan better not fuck
Did your
me.
streaming expire when you least expected? Save the day by using the Bank of America customized cash rewards card.
We're going up against Luis Hill or Luis Gills. Yankee pitcher. Not doing great for us this year, but
here's the left fielder, Jarren Duran.
Looking for a tasty way to energize your day? Look no further than Subway's delicious protein-packed footballs. Like the All-American Club piled high with fresh sliced ham, turkey, and bacon. Okay, zoom in. Enhance. Enhance. Oh, that's a winner. Or how about the ultimate BMT? Wait, slow it down. Just look at all those fresh sliced deli meats. That's 54 grams of protein. And right now, when you buy any football in the app, you get another half off. Call up the search folks, we got it. Order now on the Subway.
Propel Fitness Water. With Gatorade electrolytes, zero sugar, and vitamins. Propel hydrates better than water. Get the most out of your workout and get back to your best self. What propels you? Propel with Gatorade electrolytes.
And a foul.
that was just ugly. By ugly, I mean dirty.
Getting to start at shortstop. Batting second in today's lineup. And he was born in Aruba. The shortstop takes the ball.
Or text SUPER to 785-833 if you donate now. Become a monthly donor
and hits a fly ball.
This awesome Love Moto Stop Cancer TV. Your support allows St. Jude to provide treatments at no cost to families.
Good extension
You
on
can
that
help
swing.
make cures
Took the pitch
possible
on the
for
outside
kidney
part of
cancer.
the plate
Together,
and drove it up the middle. He let it travel just enough.
Swing and a ball lifted in the air.
Just getting weak fucking contact.
And the fans are fired up for this Redbud. Welcome back. It's Redbud National, presented by Honda. But the key is that this track has history with the only track in America that's hosted Motocross of Nations twice. In 2022, the team of Eli Tomac, Chase Sexton, and Justin Cooper brought home America's 21st victory and their latest in the international event. October 5th, 72nd running in the race back in America. Everyone's lining up at Ironman Raceway to be a part of Team USA.
It's a ball in 2 strikes.
Well, he's not afraid to fall into a 2-strike count. He knows the strike zone very well, so much so that I think umpires will look at him.
It's quite an event.
This is the first.
Like when we got that done at Redbud, that was really neat. It was very special in 22 when I got to race for the United States at Redbud. I mean, that is literally a track that I grew up racing on. And it even gives me chills talking about it now, but it was really special, especially racing with Eli, a guy that I battled that whole year, but we came together for that race and was able to win. Hopefully this year we can add another one, and it's back in the U.S., another track that I'm really familiar with. I think we would have such a killer turnout, especially at Ironman. You know, that place has a lot of history. You know, my goal is definitely to go race that. It'd be super cool, especially on home turf. We got to go hold it down. The American fans, we got to go prove ourselves in outdoors to earn that spot. So, but it would be super cool. As long as we're top 2 in that 450 class,
you'll see
we'll be
another.
back, and Ironman will be great. I want to do my best to make sure it happens. If they ask me, you know, I'm always
Swings and
saying yes.
misses. Some high tees for strike 3.
Interesting to hear Hayden Deegan said that he would like to compete. He is not part of the Motocross of Nations team yet. As we transition to the 250 class of this Honda Redbud National, the
riders in the 250 class on the gate. A couple of interesting stories from qualifying. We'll start with Deegan. Second fastest, that seems fine, but this was not fine.
Yeah, had a little tip over earlier. It looks like he lands in neutral. Kind of shaking his leg out a little bit. I believe it's a Charlie horse or something like that. He was able to get up and put another lap in, but scary moment for number 1. Star Racing Yamaha out there, but he was back up.
Let's get an update from Will.
Adele moves under it.
Thank you, Jason. Yes, just checking in with the Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing team about that fall of Hayden Deegan's there. And just like you said, James, a Charlie horse, they call it. Essentially a dead leg, the handlebar there, hitting him in the leg. I said, is this going to hinder anything moving forward into the motos? And they said, no, think of it kind of like a bruise, basically. Yeah, it's going to be tender. He's going to feel it, but it's unlikely to stop him. And we saw that in qualifying. Straight up, he was put in a fast lap. But, guys, it wasn't fast enough at that point. Second in qualifying, you know he wants to go ahead and dominate this first moto of the day in front of the Red Flag fans. So let's see how that goes moving forward.
Misses at the pitch off the plate.
Thank you, Wilson. We'll see how that impacts things. It might even impact the KTM keys to the moto, James.
Yeah, and if I'm all the other guys, you got to take advantage of Seabiscuit. You know, he's got a Charlie horse out there, so you got to get him out there. Hayden Deegan might be a little used, so all these guys got to try to take advantage of it.
He doesn't give anything in the zone.
Another fourth thing, start in front of that number 1. You might have a chance today to get that going.
Here's a rider who might have a chance. I don't know where this came from. Ryder DiFrancesco on the Rockstar Gas Gas. His average finish this year, 15.6. He dominated qualifying this morning. Fastest in both sessions. 2 laps faster than anyone else's best lap in the second session. Take advantage of that situation. And as for Deegan, if he is ailing, how about a points situation? Let's send it to Jason Thomas. More on that.
Well, Joe Shimoda sits second in points. It is, you started off the season with a string of second-place finishes, so if there's anyone who has been looking for any sign of weakness from the number 1, it has to be the number 30 of Joe Shimoda. And let's not forget, the president of Honda HRC came all the way from Japan to see here today, so this would be a great opportunity to grab that first win.
Thanks, JT. And that's really been the theme of the weekend. There are so many storylines in through sessions.
It's just so fucking weak contact. Pisses me off.
Photos are over. It's exactly halfway through Pro Motocross in 2025. I don't know if the Deegan situation is really going to slow him up that much, but I'm really curious to see what Ryder DiFrancesco can bring. And Dylan Schwartz, career best, 3rd fastest in qualifying. And he, like Ryder D, was fast in both sessions. It wasn't just 1 hero lap. So maybe a career day for the 44 as well. Here it is, folks. Qualifying's one thing. Can they bring you to the races? 250 Moto 1 from Redbud. Let's go.
Triple digits on that last pitch.
Oh no, Ryder D gets very entangled off the start, but Shimoda grabs the whole shot.
Great start by Joe. He just heard the key up there, get in front of the situation, and now let's see what the number 30 can do. It's good to see him out front. It's actually the first time, if not the first time he's been in the lead.
And that's a two-bagger.
HRC Honda can do in front of the boss man.
Yeah, you nailed it, James. That is his first whole shot of the year, but here comes Tom Miel. 16 on the orange, triple KTM.
Now, we heard Tom been talking about the last couple weeks, especially last weekend, opening lap as he makes his way around Joe Shimoda, working on that opening lap intensity. He knows that's where Hayden is really strong. He's strong everywhere, but he can't start in front of him. You got to have that intensity. It's good to see these two. And I would say probably the two ones that we likely to maybe upset Deegan outside of Chance Hymas, who's out injured.
Yeah, these riders are second and third in points. Shimoda and Vial. Jalik Stoll will be very good coming back from injury on the trial. Seth Hanaker, where is Deegan? He is 17th, and DiFrancesco 22nd.
That's out number 3.
Yeah, that's a crazy start. I thought Hayden was... Ooh, hang on there, Tom. Right there, ripping off. But, I mean, look at the gap he's already got. You're talking about an intensity. That is a good time for number 16. But, yeah, Hayden Deegan in the back. And if I'm Tom Vial, I'm running away. I don't want to see anything to do with that number 1. Because eventually he will come. Maybe he'll worry about maybe that injury's a little bit worse than what it is. The Charlie horse, we don't know. Hey, he might start thinking about championship if Tom's 15 seconds out front. Will.
Even though Tom Vial got round Joe Shimoda, that was was an incredible start from Joe, and it's been a very kind of hit-and-miss situation with his starts. They've sort of been okay, but they've been working on them, both himself and the team. And when I asked what specifically, they said, well, it's a little bit of both, but they've definitely been looking at some mapping to help within that. So they obviously control the power delivery there. And they said, but with that, we need Joe to adjust to. So both of those things come together. It's been real focused over the last week, and definitely helped the start of Moto 1.
Well, that is Shimoda's first whole shot win since 2023, so it worked there. And with Deegan way back, believe it or not, even though Vial and Shimoda are top 3 in points, neither of them had a lap left this year until now, with Vial getting that first lap.
Yeah, we were just talking about in the 450 class, just that different mindset where we were talking with Aaron, that intensity in the early part of the race. Now, since they've gotten this start, they've got to gap on the pace. Let's see how because Honda was talking about Joe's going to have to adjust. I think what he's going to have to adjust as well is getting that pace and being used to not chasing, but rather leading. Obviously, he has Tom Vial in front, but I think both those guys might be in the same situation. Let's see what they can do with it.
Rider to watch in green, that is Seth Hammaker, Monster Energy, Pro Circuit Kawasaki 4th, and he's got an inside line on Swole for 3rd. See if he can make this pass. He's got it. JT.
Well, watching Jalek Swoll, if you're wondering why Hayden Deegan didn't get such a great start, you can point to none other than Jalek Swoll. They both got out to great jumps and were accelerating side by side. Swoll had just the edge, forced Deegan to let off. Deegan had to drop back into the pack. Swoll came out 3rd.
There's a swing and a drop.
You know what's interesting? Deegan, the headline would be that he's had great success at this track. He dominated in one of his final amateur races. That was the Scouting Moto Combine back in 2022. He won his first pro race here in 2023. But it's been through consistency. Deegan has actually never won a moto professionally at Red Bull.
Man, that was risky.
And a golden opportunity for the likes of Vial.
Well, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, I think that might change at some point today. But yeah, I think, you know, those stats, the way he's riding this year, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, some places you just feel
late with the swing there.
You just don't have the luck to be able to get the wins, but I say he definitely has that pace to be able to get that done. But that is a strange stat to see. He's never won a moto here.
Yep. And a couple of the riders on the move here. Nate Grasher on 41. That's the Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing Machine. Schwartz has a good start, backing up that good qualifying time. Deegan, well, he made a mistake, I think, in those rollers.
Yeah, you got to hang on to that bike, son, but you can see the gap that he's already lost in 2 laps. You know, that's what I'm saying, how the weight is built, it just spreads out. Even though he's only 14 seconds down, he's got a group of riders to get around. And you heard Jet that last moto saying this track's kind of difficult to pass on. It's really deep. So him exploring, finding those lines is going to be a little bit of a disadvantage at this early stage of the race.
Speeds, he goes off the off speed to the fastball.
There's going to be some serious motivation out of this kid right now as he works his way forward. He started the season perfect, and then we know he did not until like I said, stole a couple of motos away from him. And we were wondering how much of that his narrative was, well, the Toyota, not really focused on that. Well, he very much was, and apparently he did not like the fact that that string came to an end. They said from this point onwards, he has made it very clear that he wants to win every single moto remaining in the season. So I'm sure he's going to want to fight as hard as he can, James, to get up to the front here and make that happen.
Yeah, I know he will, and I know he's definitely a kid of stats. I mean, he knew about the stats of how many, moto win, the time, the record. So this kid's very well, and it just keeps him motivated. And I'm sure he's aware that he's never won a moto here too, so that's probably motivating him for him as well. JT.
James, it's going to be interesting to watch. So what I want to see here from Hayden Deegan is the last 10 minutes. Let's say the last 5 to 6 laps. Let's see what his lap times are compared to the leaders. Because every time he's been in this situation where he's had to close the lead down, that is when he does his best work. He can put 3, 4, 5 seconds in the guys in the last couple laps. And on a hot day like today, that could be a weapon he can wield.
Swing, and that is strike
JT earlier told us as he hits LaRocco's lead on the 250. And Schwartz just fell in front of him, so he's making up time and track positions. Anyway, JT told us about Deegan and Swoll off the start. We have a replay to show you.
Yeah, Hayden didn't get the best of jumps, so Jalik's on him. Jalik's on the outside, so Jalik leans in on him, no big deal, but that was really started off bad for Hayden. He didn't get the jump, and when you don't, these things kind of happen, but Yeah, he launches that leap, but, thinking about it, because he was launched that leap, he was able to see the guy who fell in that corner. If he wouldn't have been able to do it, even in jumping, he might have had a chance to run into him. So when things are working, they're just working. And I'll tell you this, if Tom Vial, they don't have at least 10, 12, 13 seconds on this dude after about 10 minutes left, Hayden's still going to win this race.
We know he can make up time. We've seen him do it before, but even on that lap, he still lost. He's in the pack, and the gap went from 14 seconds to 15, and now Deegan goes down.
This is what we needed to see, look, Hayden's moving his way up. We needed to see from the other guys. This is going to help those guys out. This is what they needed to happen. And as far as Hayden, he'll still march his way back up. He didn't lose too many positions, but now you start to wonder, is he going to change their mindset, go to championship mode, and get back on that podium, or is he still going to go continue hitting the lead and try to win this race? So we'll find out.
Just past Levi, Kitchen back. This is for 8. Now Kitchen's on the inside. Lines all over this racetrack. Kitchen gets him.
Yeah, I don't think Levi really did much besides just continue down the inside. That outside just funneled in, and Hayden got stuck into it. So a couple of mistakes. You go back to that practice crash, and then this one, I don't think it's Hayden doing anything. Like, he doesn't like he's riding out of control, but when things are just start going off a little bit, it's easy to make one mistake into 2 or 3. Hayden's smart rider. He'll regroup.
And then ahead of the mix, Mikel Harrop on the Triumph. That is a battle right now. 7, 8, 9 is what you're seeing on screen. But it's going to be interesting to see the interval next time around. Right now, it's saying they're in the 30s. Not sure if that's accurate yet. We'll reset that and see how far back Deegan is. Meanwhile, Tom Vial getting it done up front over Shimoda and Hammaker. Kitchen, he's pulled away from Deegan and is going after Harrop on that 107.
Yeah, good to see Levi moving up, and no matter if Hayden made a mistake, Levi making that pass probably helps him out, just motivates him to continue moving forward. So another pass by Levi. And looking at our timing and score, we lost Dylan Schwartz. That was him on the inside of that, so bummer for him being that quick in practice. But yeah, let's see what Hayden does. Now he's going to regroup. Race is still... Yeah, our timing and scoring is down, so you can't really see it.
Yeah, well, we know this. He's only 10 minutes into the moto, so there's plenty of time. We don't have the intervals at the moment as Vial tries to control it out front. And Deegan has to go to work on Harrop now because Kitchen is moving forward.
Number 1. Now it's the second baseman, Ian Kinsler.
There is Vial, the leader. Made some bike changes. It went back a little bit more of a 2024 setup. Starting last week at Southwick was a lot better. It's funny, I actually talked to Chase yesterday, and he said, I was watching the races on TV, and I told Tom, this ain't going to work. We got to go back to what was good in 2024. They've done that, and Vial's riding better. Talked to Vial yesterday about trying to get back into the championship fight.
That one is downstairs.
Aiden, to be honest, yes, we are halfway. I've been making a couple mistakes, especially that second round in Langton. I did not finish a moto, so I lost a lot for the championship. I think third right now in the championship, pretty close from Joe. We second. But Aiden is
dude, it's just weak fucking contact.
He has been riding well. He doesn't really do any mistakes.
Never had so much weak fucking contact.
But keep on trying. That's why you got each weekend to go to the race and keep on trying. Keep on winning the race and keep fighting till the end.
Tom Vial, guys, so you hear it there in that clip. He's so motivated to keep this going. It's got to be tough, and I'm asking, it's hard, right, when it's kind of, this gap is already there, but the motivation for Tom Vial is there. And we saw it last week in Southwick in that first moto. He just fought so hard to get back after going down for that crash. And he said, that's what I just need to eliminate. He told me earlier today.
Fucking bullshit, dude.
Up there, coming into this weekend, he said, I've just got to put myself in the right position to get all this coming together. And as far as the bike setup goes, like you said, they're basically on last year's setup. It's a little bit different. They said, they had a bridge at the beginning of the year, great for hard pack, that was working well, but when they sort of tried to develop that version of it, it wasn't going well for them. So they had to back up a little bit and go down a bit of another avenue, and Thompson is far happier where he is now.
Well, it certainly looks that way. It was on the podium last week. Really, the breakout was a better second moto at High Point. Then the good Southwick we mentioned, and now out front. And I think these gaps are legitimately what they are. As you see on the screen, Deegan is 24 seconds back. The Al might have a breakthrough. Deegan still digging down here. 7 behind him is his teammate Thrasher, the bottom box.
Yeah, it's good to... We knew Hayden would regroup and come back up here, so eventually he's going to come up to the front. But yeah, I think as this race goes on, another maybe 5 minutes, then if Tom keeps that gap, then he'll start relaxing. At this point, he's still trying to pull away because he knows that one isn't behind him, but he's somewhere behind him. So I think as a rider, he's still riding a little tense at the moment. So as this race starts getting on, he keeps that gap, he'll fall in, and I think that should just look really like cleaner around the racetrack. That being said, only Joe Shimoda, we know how he is. He gets better as the race goes on. He's only 5 seconds behind him as well, so race ain't over for the win.
That's key that you said that. When a rider gets as dominant as Deegan has been, or say Ted Lawrence, the 450s, every rider says, I want to ride my own race. But you're thinking about the guy, even when you're lucky your own lap.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And my boy, counterpartner, Ricky Carmichael, yeah, it really wouldn't matter if I was out front, unless I was just feeling like I would just beat him, which wasn't that many times. I was always racing against him, and at some point, you just knew if I wasn't out front by, 15 seconds with halfway to go, there's no point in trying to just run away from this guy. This guy's going to eventually. So as I'm riding my own race,
this fucking game, bro. Fucking bails him out.
So dominant because Deegan is so strong at the end of the race. Tom is riding, thinking about where he is. So there'll be a point where
that's how you know this fucking game is fucking stupid.
Think about.
He has all the hard hit balls, and I get fucking weak fucking contact every single time. I gotta go back to what I know.
Really, with much experience riding here in motocross, that might sound strange to say about Nate Thrasher, but due to injuries, he's never gone this deep into an outdoor season before. The team were telling me this is just kind of a building year for him in that sense. Like every week he's getting stronger. During the week they're figuring stuff out with setup and the bike. And him personally, we think of Nate Thrasher as this guy who'd be great outdoors because he's such a gutsy, gritty rider. But at this point, this is all kind of new for him from this point onwards.
Yeah, and Thrasher's on the radar because he's won several Supercross races the last couple of years, but on the downside, he's gotten hurt in Supercross the last couple of years, so that's why he does not have the outdoor results to match his Supercross success. Checking in with Shimoda here, second, and he's closed up a little bit on the Honda HRC Progressive bike. Could still be a run in it because somehow there's still a lot of racing left in this moto. It feels like we've been out here a while, but not even halfway.
Yeah, there's a lot of racing, and Tom didn't have a great lap. I mean, he ran a 2:14 to 2:14.1 to Joe's 2:12.2. Hayden Deegan was at 2:11 along with Levi Kitchen, so Tom lost a lot of time. So that's why I was mentioning, like, he still looks like he's racing behind him just because he's not comfortable being out front because you know that number one's going. But this guy, good to see Seth back up here. We talked about his injuries throughout the Supercross season. It was a nice confidence booster for him. The outdoors haven't started off great for him. He missed a couple rounds, but good to see Seth back. And we know he has the speed as well once he can get through these injuries and just log these laps.
Yeah, it was a couple weeks ago at High Point, had his first ever moto podium in motocross. Not quite as good in the sand as Southwick, but back up there today, Will.
Yeah, now we got the chance to talk to him earlier about Supercross and how the end of that season has perhaps affected him going into the motocross season here. He said, I mean, it was right there, right? That Supercross championship was kind of snatched away from him right in the finale there. And he said, honestly, he would have been kind of better if I had a Supercross hangover. In other words, if he won that championship, then he's like, all right, that's... handle that. Like, but honestly, the way it went down, he's like, I'm not going to dwell on it. I can't be there every week thinking about this. He said, but I'll be honest, it took its toll. Emotionally, physically, that took its toll. And kind of just
immediately pumps in a strike to the left-handed hitter.
I would say this guy might have an all-Phillies theme team, but he does have Mike Trout hitting in the 9-hole.
The championship one comes with a big check, probably about $500,000. His hangover is the fact that he didn't get it. Because of the trauma with battling R.J. Hampshire, Julian Beaumer, and then Vial was able to sneak it out. Sneaking up now on Hammaker is his teammate, Levi Kitchen.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the timing and scoring. I don't know if Hayden went down again or whatnot, so Levi's just really cruising because, Levi got around.
Yeah, he checked out.
Yeah, and Michael Bozeman and Hayden behind him, so... Not sure what happened there. I thought Hayden was right behind Levi, but Levi's got the pace, and you know, when you start to wonder, was it just that pass, him making that pass on Hayden going down that hill? I mean, he's lit a candle. He's got the fire going, so good to see that. He's going to have this pass on the teammate right here.
You know, all can be really effective if they're coming out of the same arm
slot. Got to slow it down a little bit, make sure he doesn't cut Mike if you need to.
That's good stuff. Okay, so Kitchen all the way up to third from outside the top 10.
And that pitch did a good job to straighten him up.
What's interesting about the 250 class, Hymas is now out. But for all the chaos and all the things that have happened, it's honestly the same players that are the quote-unquote Deegan challengers. Meow, Shimoda, really Kitchen has come back to life the last couple of weeks. And those really were the three along with Hymas that were expected to be the guys closest to him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And yeah, it's a bummer to see Chance because I feel like when Hayden's on his best, Chance on his best, like James can't be Hayden. I feel like with these other guys, Hayden's got to get a bad start, and just because of where their confidence is at this moment, not just their speed, because Levi knows how to ride. Same thing with Joe Shimoda. Things got to happen right as it does.
I'm fucked. So, I thought it was gone or falling.
He's going to get it done, looks like.
Hey, we said, as you see Deegan catching Bozeman for fifth, Casey Kizimoto take advantage of the situation.
We got lucky.
Bad start and a tip over for Deegan, and they're taking advantage. As the second here for the Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing team begins. Bozeman and Deegan battling 6 and 7. You see them.
Time to leave Jaws on the floor. This might get interesting, dude.
Yes, they are indeed taking advantage of the situation.
Yeah, you got two. Hayden got a little swole up off the gate.
Yeah, he did. I see what he did there. Swole is actually 7th right behind Deegan at the moment.
On the ground,
Bozeman has caught Seth Hamaker. Just like that.
Yeah, or did Seth go down over here because
that happened in a hurry. So we're going to see as Hamaker lost some steam here, or was it just one error?
Go ahead, run in scoring position. Here comes Christian
Yelich.
Yelich.
Mentioned earlier. Michael's been running really good. This battle for the lead.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's joke time.
Joe Shimoda has
this one in the dirt and
Tom Biao.
Keep it close. You don't want to run yourself out of it, so it's got to clearly get far enough away from the
for the lead, just like that. It was a nearly 5-second gap, then a 3-second gap, and now a no-second gap for the Frenchman.
Yeah, now the best part of this, you know, when you start thinking about those rates, this might have worked out for Joe because I don't know how comfortable he would have felt in the lead. We know how strong he is at the end of the races, but because Tom was able to pass him, we saw the gap that Tom had. He had almost 6 seconds on him. Now Joe was able to ride and kind of feel in his normal zone as this guy behind him almost KOs himself.
Showing us how rough
the racetrack is. Joe's been in more of a comfortable spot. He's been able to watch where Tom's been fast at. Now it's go time for Joe. We can go back years ago where Joe had one of the most dominant rides out here, winning at Moto. So
he features a four-seam fastball, a slider, a curve, a changeup, and he works in a
sinker. Battle for the lead for the 250 Moto 1. He's going to listen in.
Make it
on the box, Deegan doing more work. Bozeman around Hamaker. Deegan right behind them. That is for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Swings through that one for strike one.
Big difference in lines between these two riders out front. Shimoda trying to make it happen, James.
Yeah, Joe's trying to. When he gets close to Tom right here, he kind of makes some mistakes. I think that's just the way these ruts are so long. Looks like Michael gets around Seth right down there, but these ruts are so long, it's easy to just make a mistake because you're so close to the guy.
Deegan almost got Hamaker in that bottom box as well. Good three-rider fight.
One down, base is empty.
Kitchen not too far ahead. Deegan squaring up Hamaker. Shimoda right there for the lead.
Now Tom's going to be stuck in his rush. Joe can just run it down the inside. He's going to have this hump here, so he's going to have to get out of his berm and cut him off.
Got it.
There you go.
Let's listen to the drag race up to the Monza wall.
Swing and a ball hammered left field.
And this crowd coming to life with Shimoda's charge.
Yeah, internationally love Joe out here. Joe's one of the fan favorites, so cool to see him out here. Expect Joe probably put in a couple laps and maybe start pulling away on Tom because he looks really comfortable at doing it as we're watching these guys go at it in the box down here.
Yeah, Deegan made the move on Hamaker. lap rider there needs to get to Mosiman. That would be next. And Shimoda go.
Late swing, foul to
Here's
the left.
Deegan with the attack on his teammate Mosiman.
Try to go again.
Mosiman riding very well as of late. Oh no! Now Deegan has the steam coming out of the bike, similar to Eli Tomac in the first moto.
Yeah, now I believe the way we are in this moto, that steam might be just clutching and overheating. I can see Hayden rushing some of these corners, getting cross-rudder, which means you got to pull the clutch to get this thing going, and Hayden doesn't like to let off the throttle, but now she's smoking pretty hard, JT.
He is, and remember Thunder Valley. We talked to Brian a little bit after the race. He's just saying he's overriding the motorcycle, too high of RPMs, using the clutch too much out of frustration, and it feels like he's right back in that place again. So I'm going to take a look at the pit board this time and see if they're telling him to get off of the clutch similar to they did in Thunder Valley.
And a strikeout.
Just not a good pitch to swing at. One reason he's an everyday player is he usually lays off of that jump.
And the batter now, Richie Sexson. And he
Trying to listen to
swings and
Deegan's
misses
style,
at the
though.
initial offering.
Yeah, he's hard on a bike, no doubt about it.
This one in the air.
In the aggressive style. Will he pack it in and just try to take points?
Yeah, I mean, I could just tell by those couple corners, he must have got the feeling, or somebody told him, because he's definitely not, you know, running in his corners, bike wide open, the clutch pulled in, which he was doing, and that was because, as JT mentioned, he was getting frustrated. You see by his body language right here, it's changed up a little bit. So, hard part about Hayden, you're a racer. Once you get back up to Michael and you start battling, you gotta go back to where you normally are and how you ride, so he's got to be conscious of that.
Yeah, that's outside.
Gotta be conscious of that! Got cross-running downhill and then down!
Oh man, you saw that coming, and look at that bike starting to smoke. And
now he knows that the bike's steaming. He just got to look at it. Sometimes the riders don't even realize because it's underneath them as they ride. It's falling apart quickly for the series later. Now that bike's so hot, sometimes they don't like to start. Even with the electric start, it did that time. But it has come undone.
Yeah, it's come undone. You can start to see a few of those mistakes starting to happen earlier. He was starting to run in these berms, getting cross-running. That was because he was just really too aggressive going down into these things. And these potholes, they rip up, they'll come up and bite you. And how long these ruts is, it's really easy for that to happen. So these guys are decent race. They took advantage of the situation.
They did. Absolutely. Shimoda most right now. Now, we mentioned that Deegan doesn't have a moto win here. It's a short sample size. It's only 4 motos over the last 2 seasons, and now moto number 5. Is there anything about that aggressive style that maybe doesn't work as well at Redbud, or is this just circumstances?
So now 1 and 2.
No, I mean, I think he can't ride the way he's riding in the way, you know, running it down in these corners, because we talked about it, JT mentioned that patience. So when you get frustrated, one thing you don't have is patience. That's why people have horns on their car, they honk it. And so you can see Hayden really running it down in these corners, and I think with him, it's not that his riding style doesn't work, it's just the way you have to ride this racetrack, and Hayden, when he's out front, he's comfortable, he doesn't ride that way. So when he's not, he runs it into these, and Redbud will bite you, they would come up and bite you because of how long these ruts is. So I wouldn't say anything his riding style is. He hasn't won here at this racetrack, but for sure, no matter how he rides, he can't ride that way, and normally he does it. So
yeah, we're talking about at the top of the show, JT talking about maybe slower into the corner. This track ends up being faster around the track.
Yeah, and the reason is because the ruts are so long. So if you run it in, what Hayden did right there, that was literally him just rushing that downhill, and he hit one bump, and because the ruts are so long, you get cross-rutted, and he just got cross-rutted, and there's 5 or 6 ruts that he has to deal with, and eventually they end up catching him out. So you got to be patient, and the whole thing is not to run it in there, the bike reacts, and you slam into the rut, and it's not like other tracks where you just hop out of one rut. You got to cross 4 or 5 ruts to get out of there, and that's when it really comes out and bites you, so you got to be patient going in.
And then as for Shimoda here, leading the way.
And the count is 1 and 2.
Joe has said before, he used to take heat for not being aggressive early in the races and not being a good starter.
This guy's fucking throwing me off.
He feels like his asset is as the track gets rougher, he can be creative and find lines. And at the beginning of the day, the beginning of the moto, track's not as rough. And lo and behold, second half of this moto.
Pitch misses inside, and that is
yeah,
ball
I mean, Joe has been strong in the second moto, second half of the season, and as I mentioned last weekend, when he was that second moto, he got him second. Hayden was right there. He didn't lose any time to Hayden. The problem is with Joe is that because he's not aggressive, all the other riders know he's not aggressive, and so they race him differently than they do anybody else, which makes it even more tougher for him to get past anybody. So he's figured out this moto well.
Left center field.
Is his mechanic going over says no rest. I was talking to team manager Lars Lindstrom over at Honda HRC about Joe and his fitness. The show's mentioned to me several times how that is a strength there, especially in motocross. Late when it gets rough. And Lars said to me, he said, honestly, I think it's genetic. He said he doesn't really have a different program than anybody else. Doesn't necessarily train hard in a sense. He trains hard. But he said, honestly, genetically, he's just gifted in that area. His fitness is good. He's always strong throughout the motor. We've said it a lot of times, James. You mentioned how tough Hayden Deegan is. And Joe knows that he's going to need that and that he's qualified in that area in order to be able to challenge Hayden. We saw at the end of Moto 2 at Southwick, he was the one who was able to keep the gap while everybody else fell back. And now, again, in Moto 1 here today, in the strong again.
This group of hitters just lacking discipline at the plate in this ballgame. They're chasing a lot of pitches outside the zone, and those chases are turning into a bunch of outs. Can they turn that around and stay within the zone? We'll see, but I think they have to.
Follow on kind of what Will was saying, the mechanic, I think he played a big role here in this moto because when Tom Vialle was starting to pull away every single lap that Joe came around, it was a similar message to stay in the fight, stay focused on Vialle. Because I think they knew if Joe could stay close enough, he was going to have an opportunity in the second half of this moto.
Exactly what you're supposed to do with that kind of location, but
and as a rider, you know, when you get past my guy, they pull away and looking at Eli getting that bike ready for the next race.
Yeah, that bike didn't make it to the finish of Moto 1.
Yeah, the way Tom passed you in the beginning part, he pulls, you know, those 2 seconds, about 3 laps into it. Once that gap stabilizes, you as a rider know in your heart when you can get back to him. Because otherwise, if you just kept pulling that pace, then Joe would start riding for a second. So his mechanic told him stay in that bike because Tom, that gap stabilized. And that's what ended up working. And Joe was right there for it.
Strike percentage over 70%. That's well above league average, and that's what's allowed him to pitch well up to this point.
That didn't make it to the finish line. And we saw Deegan, the championship leader, having the same problem in this moto. Still running, though, but all the way back in 12th. So well done for Shimoda. Going to make up a ton of points here. And he's got it now. Nearly 6 seconds on Vialle.